I came across you the other week at Polesworth Carnival when I was dressed as a silly clown, and you took some amazing photographs. And your talent for taking photography is absolutely brilliant. So we suggested that we get you in the studio. And it's now holiday season. Everyone goes off on holidays, and they come back with very questionable pictures. So we thought, let's get an expert to give us some tips. So tell us about how long you've been doing photography.
Well, in total, probably about 40 years.
Right.
Semi-pro about 20 years.
Yeah.
Fully professional just this year, thanks to COVID, really.
Yeah, brilliant. So now you're available to hire for events, not so much weddings, you don't like all that. More events, really.
Yeah, events, corporate events.
And corporate work.
Public events. So you might have seen me at the Statfold barn at the Spirit of Tamworth Awards.
You were.
Back in May, so I did the photos of all the winners and around the awards. So there was that was in the Tamworth Herald, so
brilliant.
People might have seen those.
And it's great that your pictures are finally getting out there. Your pictures were in the Tamworth Herald the other week.
Yeah, that's right, and the pantomime as well. So the panto photos were mine as well.
Absolutely brilliant. So if people are going on holiday, 9 times out of 10 now it's a smartphone that they're going to use to take their pictures. So how can people take better pictures? What would you advise?
So I've got some tips to share. Some of the tips are technical about using the camera, as you might expect. But actually the best photos are not about the technical bits and pieces of the camera. They're about how the photographer thinks. So I've got some tips about that as well.
Brilliant.
And the first thing is, it seems really obvious, but human memory is really bad.
Yes.
We think we've got good memories, but we've actually got terrible memories.
Correct.
And we make up our memories as we're telling the memory, as we're telling the story.
Right.
Not when we actually experience the original thing.
Yeah.
So first thing is think about what stories you want to tell about your holidays. If you think about friends at work or friends, family and so on, when they come back off holiday, they always tell the same story wherever they've been.
Yeah.
Everything was rubbish and this didn't work and that didn't work and we had this nightmare, or we found this little thing that nobody else knew about and we made all these great friends or whatever. Always the same story wherever they go. So think about, rather than just getting into that habit of telling the same old holiday story, think about what story you want to tell. You want people to think you've had a great time, it's been wonderful, and you want to relive those memories in the future. Like in the winter, you want to relive those memories and think, wow, what a great time we had. Wasn't it wonderful? So the photos are going to help you do that.
Yeah.
So rather than just taking photos of random stuff that suits how you're feeling at the time, actually think ahead and think, what's the story I want to be telling myself in the winter? And take, so don't just take pictures of the broken sink and the queue at the airport if you're lucky enough to get to an airport. Take pictures of the things you saw, and not just yourself, but the things you saw that are then going to help you to tell yourself the stories that are going to be some wonderful holiday memories for you.
I think that's a great tip. Great tip there. We're going to play some music, but definitely, I think you've either got it or you haven't as well with pictures. My wife she takes the picture in 1 second, doesn't think about it, and it's always shocking. My son and daughter are very photographic, and they frame the picture and they say, oh no, there's a big lamppost sticking out your head, move, let's move, or they'll move. People need to think about what's in the background.
Well, that's tip number 2.
Oh good, well I'm getting ahead of the game. Let's play some music. Anyway, listen, Peter, you're in the studio with us live talking. You're based in Polesworth, by the way, aren't you?
Yeah, that's right.
So if people want to hire, what's the name of the company?
Genius Photography.
Love it, and you are a genius, so that worked out great. Genius Photography, based in Polesworth. You got a Facebook page, website?
Website is simple, genius.photo.
Brilliant, genius.photo. And so your second tip is?
Second tip is, don't expect the camera to see the world the way that you do.
No.
Because the camera's built differently and it works different, and they always have done. Yeah. So if you learn to see the world the way the camera does, you'll make better use of the camera, you'll take better pictures. So for example, there's something that all cameras have. It's called focal length.
Yes.
So when you see like people like at a sports match, racing, whatever, with these huge long lenses.
Yes.
They call them telephoto lenses. They've got a long focal length. Right. And if you think of like a really wide angle or like a fisheye thing that you might have seen, they're a very short focal length. So focal length of the human eye is about 50 millimeters. Right. So you think of the old image of the black and white SLR camera that you see, black and white photos, there's pictures of the Beatles taking pictures with them, that sort of thing. That's seeing the world roughly like the human eye. Right. Smartphone camera is about half that.
Wow.
So what that means is smartphone camera is built for wide images.
Yes.
Great for landscapes.
Yeah.
Really, really bad for portraits.
Right.
And the closer you get to it, the more it will distort and exaggerate the perspective.
Right.
So if you're taking a selfie right up against your face with your smartphone camera, it will exaggerate your features as they get closer to it. So
and let's face it, Peter, that's a good point. On social media, there are some people who really shouldn't be taking photographs of themselves at the angles they're doing it. My dad is a nightmare for when I'm FaceTiming him. All I can see is up his nostril.
Exactly.
He's not looking at what the camera's showing.
Yep.
So it's very important that you're paying attention to what the screen's showing you.
Yeah.
Not what you think it's showing you.
Exactly, and that's the thing about seeing the world the way the camera does, because the camera doesn't care what you think you want to see. The camera's just going to show you what is there.
Yes.
Like the lamppost growing out of the head, like the glitter in the foreground, the distortion, which you won't see until afterwards when you've stopped thinking about the picture that's in your head.
Yeah.
So the closer you hold the camera to your face, the more it's going to make you look distorted. So if you don't like the way you look in selfies, that's probably why. Because it isn't what you look like.
No.
So you've got to get the camera further away, get somebody else to take the picture if you can, ideally, because it's a better camera on the other side of the camera, on the other side of the phone anyway.
Better quality.
Better quality on the back than on the front, so that's going to be a better picture anyway.
Yeah.
And just get used to looking out on the screen at what is there, not what you want to be there or what you think is there.
Love it.
And when you're taking selfies, particularly in groups, don't look at yourself on the screen. Look at where the camera is.
Yes.
I don't know why the manufacturers don't put a little red arrow that pops up that says look here, but look at the camera. Look
at this dum-dum.
Otherwise everyone's looking cross-eyed.
Yeah. And they do. You see so many pictures on social media and you think, good Lord,
you think,
why
what are
did
they
you put
looking
that
over
up?
there for?
It's almost like... And in the studio we've got professional photographer, a genius photographer, no less, Peter Frith. Peter, we know now that most phones are smartphones if cameras are taking pictures on smartphones rather than the big SLRs. But say if you are into photography, what's the best way to move from a phone to, say, a better camera?
I think, to be honest, the camera, the technology of the camera, it gives you some more flexibility, some more features that you're not going to have in a phone. But if you're going to take rubbish pictures on a phone, then getting a better camera isn't going to help you.
Right.
So the simplest thing is get lots of practice in.
Yeah.
Be really critical of the pictures you're taking. Don't be afraid to look at something you've taken.
No.
Don't be proud about it or precious about it. Say, I could have done that better, or I could have done this better, and keep on practicing. And you can join lots of Facebook groups and get feedback from other people. And it doesn't mean other people are right, but it's different points of view and things that you might not have spotted yourself.
I like the machine gun approach. I take loads of pictures, hoping that I'm going to get lucky in 2 or 3. That 90% of them are beat, delete, don't cost you a penny anymore.
Yeah.
But 2 or 3, you think, jackpot.
It's the consequence of digital. Back in film, when we thought about the cost of processing,
but now you don't have to worry, do you?
No, you don't have to worry about
it's
it.
Beautiful.
And even I'll take half a dozen pictures of the same, particularly when it's events.
Beautiful.
Somebody's always got their eyes closed or looking the wrong way.
Totally agreed. We're going to go some music, then we're going to do traffic and travel. We're talking to Peter Frith, genius photographer. Time is exactly 10 to 9, and we're talking to genius photographer Peter Frith. Peter, give us tip number 3.
Tip number 3, so I've got a technical one for you now. So the camera, any camera, can't see the same range of contrast as the human eye. So I'm looking at you right now. You've got a white shirt on.
Yeah.
The background is these sort of dark grey, blackish tiles, acoustic tiles. I can see both.
Yeah.
Camera can't. You can see one or the other. What the camera does is it treats everything as if it's an average grey, which it isn't. And so if you're taking pictures, particularly on holiday, you've got a lot of bright sun, or in this weather, the camera can't process the brightest and the darkest in a scene. It'll be in the middle somewhere.
Right.
So either something's going to be too bright or something's going to be so dark you can't see it.
Yeah.
So you've got to choose which one you want. And in your phone camera, probably you've got a setting on the camera, and it might be called something like Pro Mode or Advanced Mode or something like that.
Yeah.
And if you go into that, there'll be a little setting called EV.
Yes.
So this is a carryover from proper cameras.
Yes.
It stands for exposure value.
Right.
And what it allows you to do is push the camera's exposure up or down. So the camera is not just guessing based on an average grey of the whole scene. it's actually doing what you want it to do.
Yeah.
So let's say you've got the you're down some little village abroad somewhere, or little narrow street, sunlight's coming through, looks beautiful to the human eye.
Yeah.
Terrible on the photo because you can't see anything.
No.
So on that, you'd go into that pro or advanced mode, whatever it is. You'd push the EV up 1 or 2. The sky would be washed out, but you'll see the detail in the streets. Then it'll bring up the exposure.
Brilliant.
You want to take a picture of a sunset. The sunset looks fantastic. We had a great sunset last night in the area. Beautiful orange clouds. It looked wonderful. You take a picture of that on your phone, it'll look pale and washed out, and you'll think, it looks rubbish. It's terrible. This phone's rubbish. All you needed to do was go into the pro or the advanced mode, go into the EV and drop it down by 1 or 2.
The great thing about phones is you can do it post-edit if you need to. So if you realise, you can go back and change some of it.
You've got a little bit of leeway afterwards, not much.
Right.
Better to get it right first than...
That's why you're the genius photographer.
So if you think about it, and this is the thinking ahead thing, so just dropping the EV down 1 or 2 steps, it's called, or stops, it'll bring out the colours a lot more.
Tip 3, beautiful. We're going to play some music. We're also speaking to a genius photographer, Peter, who's got another tip. Is this tip number 4?
This is tip number 4.
Go for it.
Think about what the job of the camera is. It's taking the place of somebody's eyes.
Yes.
And it's forming a visual memory. It's filling in our terrible human memories, like I said earlier. But it's taking the place of somebody's eyes. So think about who that is.
Yeah.
Think about who it is who's standing there with you, looking at whatever it is you're looking at. And if you think about a selfie, so a lot of people taking pictures of, selfie pictures on holidays, out and about and so on. Think about what the selfie is. It's the camera taking the place of somebody who you would like to have them with you, but they're not there. So a selfie is actually signalling to everybody who sees it on Facebook or whatever that you're on your own.
Yeah, Billy no mates.
Is that the message you want to send?
Not really.
So you're taking a selfie, saying, hey, look at me, I'm in this great place, I'm having a great time. But you're also realising it's signalling, I'm alone. And perhaps even lonely.
I think it's a tragedy of the TikTok Insta era that my daughter, who hopefully she's not listening, but all her people her age, constantly taking pictures and selfies of themselves. It's quite sad, really. Our generation, we want to take a picture of all our mates. Preferably your mate falling over and breaking his head or something. We nothing better than seeing someone fail miserably at something, jumping off a rope. You want it to break, and then you get the picture because instantly we laugh. Whereas the modern generation seem fascinated with just taking pictures of themselves, which is quite sad.
Yeah, and it's look at where I am, look at what I'm doing. Show us what you're seeing.
Yes.
Show us what you're looking at.
Flip the camera around.
Yeah, show us the fabulous place that you're in, as if we're there with you, by your side.
Yes.
Not,
tell the story.
Yeah, exactly. And so think about who's looking through the eyes of the camera, and what story you want to be telling, and what experience you're sharing with them.
I love that. I need to spend more time with you because I love photography, and the pictures you take are they are genius, quite literally. I've had loads of pictures. I've been bibbledy-bob now for nearly 20 years, and your pictures are some of the best I've ever took, and I've been on high-end photo shoots where people are getting paid a truckload to take the pictures, and you took brilliant pictures, so you clearly know what you're talking about. What's tip number 5?
Tip number 5. So finally, you've thought about what the story you want to tell. You've thought about and got used to how your camera sees the world. We talked about some of the technical stuff on the camera, and then the worst thing you can do is just lose all those wonderful visual memories just by leaving them on your phone. Yeah. And once they've gone past the first screen of your camera roll, you're never going to look at them again. You're going to think, where's that picture of us on holiday? And a couple of scroll, I can't bother to look for it. Don't worry about it. So don't leave them on your phone. There's loads of great photo printing websites that will print photo books.
Yes.
Not loose photos, books. So when we go on holiday, what I like to do is I get a hardback photo book printed.
Yeah.
I do a custom cover of one of the photos.
That's great.
You don't have to do that. You can just do a plain cover. And then, when it's middle of winter, and it's raining, and it's miserable, and it's dark from 4 o'clock, you can get yourself a nice drink. You can take that photo book off the shelf, open it, and it's telling the story and letting you relive the wonderful memories that you had.
That's a
and
great
thinking
show.
about the stories you want to remember, the stories you want to tell. And so we love that. We go and sit in the corner of the house, and we've got a bookshelf, and we grab one of the books off, and we relive it, and it's just wonderful to bring all those fabulous
I'm going to do that because
back.
I've got loads of albums on my hard drives of holidays that I've took the kids on: Disney World, Florida, Lanzarote, Mallorca, all that. And you're right, they're just on a hard drive somewhere.
You never look at them, do
Whereas, no, if you gave them a book, then as they're getting older now, they'll be able to look back and show their kids the holidays they went on. Yeah.
You know, the two of you that you've been on holiday, or your whole family or whatever, it's something you go through together, and you relive all of those stories that you've captured with your camera when you were.
I absolutely love it. Peter, it's been an absolute pleasure having you in the studio. Please come back in the future and talk more, because we all need to take better photographs. There's far too many pictures of someone's dinner on Facebook and on social media, isn't there? And they're in a wonderful windswept place, and they take a picture of a lizard on a rock that's zoomed in so it's blurred, and you think, why? Or a picture of a steak pie, or chips, or picture of Cadbury's less finger airs.
Look, making me hungry now.
Yeah. And you think, why? Show me some nice pictures. It's been a pleasure, mate. Tell me your website again.
Genius.photo.
Brilliant.
Simple as
Peter,
that.
it's an absolute pleasure, and keep taking brilliant pictures. You're a star, mate.
Thanks, Rob.
What a fascinating man he was. Peter Freeth, Genius Photography. Absolutely brilliant. And hopefully you learned something there.